Disappointing 23-16 loss to the rival Dallas Cowboys at home against a backup quarterback. And look, we pride ourselves on objectivity here at Big Blue View. Last week, we ushered praise to Don Wink Martindale for his ability to manipulate the Panthers' protection package and get after Baker Mayfield. He deserved that praise. Now, it's time to critique, chastise, possibly lambaste a little bit, but most importantly, it is vital that we figure out what went wrong against the Dallas Cowboys on the defensive side of the football. We'll attempt to do that right now. The loss of Leonard Williams was a lot for this defense to overcome, and it wasn't like Kellen Moore, the Cowboys offensive coordinator, was completely out scheming Wink Martindale all up and down the field. There were adjustments. They went tit for tat, but at the end of the day, Kellen Moore won this chess match. The Dallas Cowboys ran for 176 yards on the ground, 105 for Tony Pollard, and 73 and a tutty for Ezekiel Elliott on the road with a backup quarterback. That is unacceptable. And I felt like Moore did a really good job showing what he was going to do in the beginning of the game. This is the second play of the game right here, and you have a double Y set to the boundary with Tony Pollard coming in motion. Ezekiel Elliott is in the shotgun offset to the weak side, but it's also field side. And what Dallas did very well throughout this game to win laterally, to win the edge on the outside, was they aligned two wide receivers, sometimes a tight end, in a two-point stance, reduced splits, and the near receiving threat blocks down on the end man on the line of scrimmage with the receiver on the outside of him taking the defensive back, that apex defender. And what this does is this allows the play side tackle to kick into space around these down blocks, pin pull type of concept. With the center scooping Dexter Lawrence, this allows the play side guard to climb up to that linebacker and locate him. And then you can also have this backside tackle take Nick Williams, which allows Zach Martin to climb up to the strong side linebacker there. And what you have there is a bunch of Cowboys offensive linemen climbing to the second level and locating and executing their blocks, allowing Tony Pollard to do his thing in space and putting the Giants defense in a complete bind to the field side, the weak side of the formation. Let's watch. We'll see the down blocks with the motion. Tyler Smith kicks into space, just forces Adoree Jackson back, puts him into a really bad situation. And with the Giants initially in too high with McKinney and Love back, Julian Love takes a good angle to undercut the block right there and make the tackle on Tony Pollard. So this is only a 14-yard game, but this could have been a lot worse. And it's something that the Cowboys used several times. But look at the second level. Watch how these linemen climb. Both those linebackers are eliminated. You also have another player from the Dallas Cowboys from the backside trying to cut off the angle of Xavier McKinney. And that's not even to mention the offensive tackle that we went over. This is just a great game plan against the New York Giants to have those reduced wide receivers block down and eliminate the front side defenders of the New York Giants. And we'll see here. This is a similar type of play. This is the 3rd and 12 that the Cowboys ended up converting with a 27-yard run by Ezekiel Elliott. This is the longest run of Elliott's career since 2020. Okay, since the end of 2020 against the Philadelphia Eagles, Ezekiel Elliott has not had a run this long, and it was in a 3rd and 12 situation. You could see a similar type of formation, right? Obviously, you have Ezekiel Elliott in pistol now. There's no Tony Pollard coming in motion, but you have Ferguson to block down, and then CeeDee Lamb who can block down to the field side once again. Let's watch. Just a little halfback pitch. You see both those down blocks right here and right here. Play side tackle. Kicking into space. It's going to be on to get rid of Tay Crowder here. And Tay Crowder's got to be really quick to get into the backfield. He's got to penetrate fast. Once he sees this play side tackle kick into space, especially after seeing this play before, he has to get into the backfield and slow Ezekiel Elliott down or just elongate him. He does not do that. And then look again. Tyler Smith, Ezekiel Elliott, no Giant in sight. Dane Belton's rookie body getting into the way of that Mack truck and taking that hit right there for this 27-yard gain. And we'll watch it one more time. You can see the Giants are all up on the line of scrimmage showing a pressure look. This is a passing situation. No one thought that the Dallas Cowboys were going to run the football here. They get pinned down. No one gets to Elliott. That's a huge chunk gain. Luckily, the Cowboys punted on this drive. Now, before we go into some of the ways the Giants were able to combat that outside run, and they played it really well. Here's the long 40-plus yard run by Tony Pollard. This is the first play, I believe, that Jason Peters is in at guard after he relieved Fairnook. And this is a weak side run. You can see you have Noah Brown, wide receiver, and the tight end, Ferguson, both to the boundary side. And this is something that Dallas did. They aligned players to the boundary side, and then they would run weak side, but to the field side. And look at this box count right here. So this is kind of a one shade by Dexter Lawrence right here. But then you have 1, 2 to this weak side with these two blockers. It puts Austin Calitro in a tough position where you would hope he'd be able to make the play. But if he wasn't able to make the play, you would really hope that Tay Crowder would flow over the top and take the extra gap over there that ends up getting created. And that does not happen. Let's watch. So Biadasz does a good job on Dexter Lawrence here. Jihad Ward sets the edge and keeps it pretty narrow against Tyler Smith. But uncovered offensive linemen are difficult to deal with for linebackers, especially the linebackers the New York Giants currently have on their roster. Jason Peters gets a free release up to Austin Calitro, and Calitro tries to collapse down, and he stays tight to Dexter Lawrence, which wasn't the move. Calitro should have did this, but it's easier said than done. He tries to undercut this. Now, he can work out this way, and then you have a big hole right here, but Dexter Lawrence is in a position to collapse that down, right? So Calitro tries to undercut it. He sees the angle. He tries to take advantage of a 40-year-old offensive guard, but he fails to do so. But at this time, hopefully, you have a contingency plan in place with Tay Crowder. But Tay Crowder cannot escape the grasp of one of the best offensive linemen in the league, Zach Martin, and there's no one to help Austin Calitro for getting trapped like that. This is a long run by Tony Pollard. Let's go through it one more time. Again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Tough spot for Calitro at this point. Because look, you have crisscross, applesauce, legs right there from a 40-year-old guard. Calitro thinks he could just undercut this. And he might have got baited here because Dexter Lawrence has leverage on Biadasz here. And if Calitro just, it's easier said than done, made this go outside, Pollard would have been in a much tougher spot here. But he goes inside, gets caught. Tay Crowder's not there to bail him out. Darnay Holmes takes a bad angle. And the rest of the Giants are chasing Tony Pollard down the field. Never want to see that. Here are two plays ran by Dallas that are similar to the plays that we went over at the beginning of the video. The block down, the pull-to-play side tackle. The Giants played this much better. Let's watch. See the play side tackle, Terrence Steele pulling to locate Adoree Jackson there. And this only ends up being a short gain by Tony Pollard on an end-around motion again. And you can see everyone's blocking down. The Giants, though, here play this much better because they're weary at this point. This is the fourth quarter, 14:42 left. They're aware of the fact that they have been abused to the outside. And this is an adjustment by Wink Martindale. He knows it's been a field side run. You can see the strength is right here. But with Tony Pollard in motion, the Giants have both these players, second-level defenders, aligned over here with Jihad Ward wide. Because good luck down blocking Jihad Ward in this situation. So he just runs outside, and you can see Tay Crowder. If Tony Pollard would have cut this here, Tay Crowder's in position to meet him right there in that hole. So Pollard is forced wide as the Giants just stretch him out, and then force him to the sideline. That's well played right there by the Giants. Now we have an adjustment by Kellen Moore against Martindale. Instead of pulling Terrence Steele, they're going to assist Terrence Steele with the blocks from Turpin and Lamb, and they're going to try to use Jake Ferguson as a lead blocker around the pin-pull concept. Giants play this well, too, which is good to see. You can see Giants stretching it out. Tony Pollard ends up getting the first down there on this 3rd and 1 play. But you see how the Giants are expecting these down blocks. Right off the snap, they're engaging it, and they're flowing. Eyes up. And just stretch Tony Pollard out. It seems like Turpin does a good job holding up. I think that's Xavier McKinney right there. It's a good little block by him. Still, the Giants were playing these outside runs better, albeit they still surrendered the first down here. So the timestamp is important here. And a lot of people were asking, how the heck did CeeDee Lamb get wide open? And then he dropped the football, luckily for the New York Giants, even though Dallas ended up winning this football game. But the timestamp is important because this comes right after the 3rd and 12 conversion that we went over before where Ezekiel Elliott ran for 27 yards. You can see everything is reduced right here from the Dallas Cowboys, and they're going to run play action rollout, and you're going to have an excellent route, a cop route, a corner post route by CeeDee Lamb, and then you're going to have a deep curl by this wide receiver, and what that's going to do is that's going to occupy the deep curl, that is Fabian Moreau, and it's going to isolate CeeDee Lamb against Dane Belton, who is going to bite on the corner part of the cop route. Let's check it out. Play action rollout. You can see Dane Belton, he's off the screen right there. Oh, the ball just hits him right in the hands. You can see how his hips get flipped. Because watch the initial break outside by CeeDee Lamb. That's going to expand this defender, and that's going to get Dane Belton's hips and momentum going in this direction. It's going to force Dane Belton to do a speed turn, and you can see he's just about to execute that as CeeDee Lamb goes into the post portion of the corner post route. You can see how he's wide open. And now let's pay attention to the other side of the field. Moreau has to stay on top of Jalen Tolbert right here. So he gets occupied by this curl. You have Kayvon Thibodeau dropping into coverage right here, kind of working underneath Tolbert. But Moreau's right here staying on top of Tolbert, trying to not allow him to win. Has no idea that CeeDee Lamb is running behind him, just creeping behind him. And I love how Kellen Moore dialed this play up after the Giants surrendered a huge, unconventional 3rd and 12 run. You know, it's like a sudden change. A sudden change whenever the defense forces a turnover. The offense, the very next play, takes a shot play to catch the opposing defense off guard. That's kind of like what happened in this situation. You also have Brown blocked down a little bit, release Ezekiel Elliott into the flat. He could have been a part of the progression. Doesn't seem like he was really accounted for here because that cop route was wide open. CeeDee Lamb has to catch that football, and the Giants got away with one there. This is a gigantic part of the game right here. Right after Saquon Barkley's touchdown run, the Giants have all the momentum. This is the first play for the Dallas Cowboys on the ensuing drive, and they just run a sail concept right here. They're going to run the H-back into the flat, deep route from Noah Brown, and then a corner to the boundary from CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb, I love Adoree Jackson, but CeeDee Lamb sells this inside move against Adoree Jackson like a used car salesman in Jacksonville, North Carolina, attempting to prey on young Marines. You can take that 20% interest and shove it. Yeah, that's a thing, by the way. Watch this. Watch how he sells that hard inside jab foot, and he goes right back outside, totally gets Adoree Jackson to bite, creates the traffic so Darnay Holmes can't work over the top to Jake Ferguson there, but that doesn't even matter because Cooper Rush, who gets absolutely annihilated on this play by Dexter Lawrence, we'll see that in a second, is able to connect with CeeDee Lamb for 17 yards, and it kind of just forced a little prick into the balloon that was quickly filling up with Giants hope. Because giving up 17 yards to open this kind of drive in that type of manner is difficult against a backup quarterback, especially when you have Dexter Lawrence just plow through Biotis there and plant Cooper Rush. And that ball is just right there. It's not the best thrown ball, but it's plenty fine considering the fact that CeeDee Lamb won so easily off the line of scrimmage against Adoree Jackson. Let's watch this one more time. Hard inside stem, Adoree Jackson, inside foot off the ground, hips completely oriented in this direction. He has to quickly flip. He loses his balance. And then from there, he's stacked and just in a scrambling mode to attempt to get back into phase. And that's just a tough play for the New York Giants defense to suffer right after such a momentum swinging play by the offense. And typically, it's the defense with momentum swinging plays, not the offense. But that didn't exactly happen in this game. Previous play was a man coverage type of look, and we have a more zone type of look here. You're going to have the Dallas Cowboys initially align with Pendershot as a fullback, and he's going to motion to be the H-back here, which is very important. I really like this play call. This is later on after the CeeDee Lamb catch that we just went over. You have a too-high defense pre-snap. You're going to have this player right here, I think it's Julian Love, buzz down, and you're going to have the safety right here rotate. You're going to have a cover 3 type of look with some pressure coming from Micah McFadden. Let's watch. This little subtle thing right here. He motions down here, and what you're going to get is CeeDee Lamb clearing out the deep third of Adoree Jackson and Pendershot just getting right into that zone, flooding that zone with 2 vertical routes. And there's nothing Adoree Jackson can do at this point. You could midpoint all you want. There's really nothing you could do. You have to pay attention to CeeDee Lamb here, who angles his route inside purposefully. Obviously, everything matters on the football field. Every little detail matters. So he's running right at the buzz defender right here. If this wasn't going to be a buzz defender, he was going to attempt to draw the attention of this defender away from the real primary receiver on this play, which is Pendershot, who right at the snap, you could see, inside. He's running directly here. Draw Dory Jackson this way. Azeez Ojulari flows out laterally, but then stays put and doesn't sink, gain any depth. And all this is just a little flatten up. And look at all that space right there. You just flood a Dory Jackson zone. There's nothing a Dory Jackson can do. He's not even aware at this point that this is happening, nor really should he be. It's a really tough situation for him to be in. Just an excellent scheme against a cover 3 type of team in the New York Giants. You just take advantage of this flat defender who's not going to be able to get to the depth to take away this receiving threat, especially when Ezekiel Elliott is holding the attention of Azeez Ojulari off the play action. He's going to run out in this direction. So now you have 3 players who are in this area with 2 Giants defenders. So it's a lose-lose if you're the New York Giants here. You can see how Giants got burned. You can also see Cooper Rush stays in the pocket here from Micah McFadden, who could have really annihilated him there. Rush is lucky that this play, that he was able to get this off right here. It's unfortunate, but you got to tip your cap to the Dallas Cowboys and Kellen Moore, because he did a really good job scheming throughout this game. And we talk a lot at Big Blue View about using fast 3s and fast 4s to create miscommunications in coverage. And that's exactly what happens on this play. We have Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. Tony Pollard is right here, and he is going to motion as a fast 3. What do I mean by fast 3? A fast 3 means before the snap, he is running or he is motioning in the direction where he's going to have to be accounted for by the defense as the 3rd receiver, because you have number 1, the outside guy, and number 2 over here. So before Tony Pollard motions in this direction, the Giants have their assignments all chalked up and ready to go. But especially for match-type defenses, which many defenses are, Wink Martindale runs those principles, when you insert the 3rd receiver into the equation, that might change the role and the responsibilities of the defenders. And I'm not 100% certain on whose responsibility was blown here, but somebody's was, because Darnay Holmes reacts to the fast 3 of Tony Pollard, and nobody accounts for the number 2 receiver. Let's see. And this is a big play to CeeDee Lamb. He almost gets in the end zone. This is right before he scores the touchdown on the fade ball. It's a little subtle push-off, but I'm okay with that, I think. A little subtle push-off, though. But you can see, watch. So use Tony Pollard. Darnay Holmes comes down. He reacts to that. Nobody takes CeeDee Lamb. The safety doesn't shoot down and man up on him or anything like that. That puts Fabian Moreau into a situation where he's going to stay on top of Noah Brown. Maybe it was Fabian Moreau to switch there, and this safety was supposed to take Noah Brown. I'm not 100% certain. Maybe Darnay Holmes wasn't supposed to take the fast 3 in this specific defense, and he was supposed to leave that to Tay Crowder. That would have been a mismatch from an athletic ability standpoint, something you necessarily don't want to do, but you have 3 defenders on this side of the hash. Again, I have no idea. All I know is the fact that Kellen Moore dialed up Tony Pollard and used him in this manner definitely messed with the New York Giants' coverage, because CeeDee Lamb just kind of tempos his releases slowly off the line of scrimmage. You can see that there. Darnay Holmes, he allows Darnay Holmes to come down. He kind of fakes like he's blocking him, which, if that's the full case there, and the whole shoulder, just that little shoulder turn from Cooper Rush really forced Darnay Holmes to bite and abandon his responsibility as CeeDee Lamb, then that's not great, but it doesn't seem like that was on Darnay Holmes' mind. It might have just been some sort of miscommunication on the Giants' defense. Again, not 100% certain. But a great play call right here. And then you can see right here, CeeDee Lamb knows. Fabian Moreau's upfield. Safety has no chance to get to him here. This quarters type of look. Strong finish. So here's the 3rd and 4 play right before CeeDee Lamb's receiving touchdown. This is a big point of the game as well. And this actually was a 3rd down stop by the New York Giants. Played excellently by one Adoree Jackson. CeeDee Lamb initially is the number 1 wide receiver. He motions right here. It's man coverage, and typically whenever you see something like this, you get an inside breaking route with a bunch of traffic created to mitigate the ability of Adoree Jackson to locate CeeDee Lamb, but that's not exactly what happens here. And I do like this play call from Kellen Moore, but Adoree Jackson plays it really well. Let's watch. So instead of going inside, where Adoree Jackson does have help, Kellen Moore, outside release,
outside release, and you're going to fake underneath the tight end's release and then pivot back outside underneath both of these releases. And what the Cowboys were hoping was that Adoree Jackson was going to flow over the top of this to get to CeeDee Lamb, but Adoree Jackson knows he has Tay Crowder here attempting to wall off CeeDee Lamb. So he stays disciplined, and then he makes a great play to pivot right as CeeDee Lamb pivots and work back outside of that tight end's outside release to play aggressively through the catch point. The throw wasn't great there, but still, this is an amazing play by Adoree Jackson, a heady play, a smart play by Jackson to force this incompletion to set up this 3rd and 4 conversion. Now, this is a play that we saw pretty often against the Carolina Panthers 3 times, and I'll show those plays. I broke them down extensively last week. If anybody wants to watch it, it's on the feed. It's important, and it speaks to the philosophy and some of the play calling of Don Wink Martindale. But it involves safeties, 2 high safeties right here, and then a blitzing nickelback who is typically tight to the formation. And Darnay Holmes is relatively tight, but you can see he's looking pre-snap, I'm about to come here. And what that forces the New York Giants to use their safety right here, Dane Belton, to drop and man cover the number 2, which is CeeDee Lamb at the moment. And you're also going to have 2 guys drop off the line of scrimmage here to try and just take advantage of Dallas's protection. Let's watch. So you have a quarters look pre-snap, but you can see Darnay Holmes is coming. Both these players drop off. You're going to have him try to take the number 3 receiver if it's going to be an inside release. We saw this a couple times last week. And then Dane Belton is put in this position to come down from depth, which is not easy, and deliver this hit on CeeDee Lamb. And this throw was pretty late from Cooper Rush right here. You can see Kayvon Thibodeau almost gets home. Nice little swim move right there by Kayvon Thibodeau. You see, whoop, whoop. Got to put that one on the Twitter. And Belton is just a step late. You can see how he has that little inside step. It seems like that might have slowed him down, but CeeDee Lamb does a good job catching the football here. And this was much closer than I originally expected. You can't see it here, but you see this at the top of the screen. They showed the sideline angle. I initially thought CeeDee Lamb got this very easily, but Dane Belton drives him back and stops his momentum. It was much closer than I originally thought. And you're going to see similar plays right here. Now, Darnay Holmes tips his hand. This is against Carolina Panthers last week. The Giants are going to rotate Xavier McKinney, and then Dane Belton's going to rotate down right here. And you can see he rotates over Shi Smith, but we talked about those backside defenders dropping into coverage. You have O'Shane Ximines on Christian McCaffrey, something you don't necessarily want all that often. And then Julian Love is supposed to undercut Ricci's route right here, but Baker Mayfield does a good job delivering that football. You see how the safety is involved in that nickel blitz coming down. And whenever the quarterback can read this, he can throw hot. And right here you see something similar. Now, this is middle of the field close to start. It's not middle of the field open like we saw before, but it's also a 2x2 set instead of a 3x1 set. And now you're going to have Dane Belton has to cover all this ground to get to Ian Thomas. But you also have, from the backside, Tay Crowder coming to try to undercut any kind of inside breaking route that is to the intermediate parts of the field or the short part of the field. Ian Thomas does a good job kind of expanding outward along the numbers and running the seam away from both of these defenders. Baker Mayfield puts the ball where it needs to be. But he does take a big hit from Dane Belton, who, man, that guy can deliver some hits. And now we have another similar type of play call. This is, again, a empty type of set, 3x2 with the H-back here, Christian McCaffrey in a stack off the line of scrimmage. You're going to get something similar here. And you get Darnay Holmes the blitz. Now Dane Belton is coming down from depth. He is deep right here. And if Baker Mayfield saw this, he would throw hot. And you could see. He has 2 guys here, but for whatever reason, he's looking at McCaffrey, probably because he liked what he saw on this side, especially once it was confirmed at the snap that Xavier McKinney was coming. He's like, well, who's on Christian McCaffrey? You have a linebacker on Christian McCaffrey. He doesn't throw the football here until really late, and it's a small gain after Darnay Holmes delivers the hit here. But you can see how the safety rotates down again over the top of the number 2. This is something we're going to see quite often. You can also see how Julian Love, who is sugaring the A-gap, bails into a deep responsibility. There's going to be a lot of rotating. There's going to be a lot of guys on the line of scrimmage at once. Not all of them are going to come. Some of them are going to drop off. And it's going to take advantage of offensive lines, but it may lead to some broken plays at times. And it was the same or a similar type of concept against CeeDee Lamb on that 4th down.
And that's a quick little overview of some of the defensive mishaps that Don Wink Martindale's defense suffered at the hand of Kellen Moore, Cooper Rush, and the Dallas Cowboys offense. Look, Giants get another chance playing Dallas, this time maybe with Dak Prescott, and it will be on the road, but hopefully they can redeem themselves. They need to get healthy. Leonard Williams, again, that loss was gigantic for this defensive front. I did feel like from a scheme standpoint, Wink Martindale got bested, but I don't expect that to happen too often. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this YouTube channel, Big Blue View. Please check out all of our written content over at bigblueview.com and check out Big Blue View Radio wherever you get podcasts. Nick Filato signing off. Take care, everybody.